Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the medium in the middle. This podcast is going to walk you through my journey into mediumship and how I came to realize that I could communicate with souls that have passed over. My adventure started just over a year ago when unusual situations started happening to me. It wasn't until I really started to pay attention to them that it all started to come together. I wrote down everything that I was experiencing this past year in a little black book, and this podcast is going to be a recap of all of those memories leading up to where I am today in my mediumship journey. I will be releasing new episodes every Tuesday, and I recommend listening to the podcast in order, starting with episode 1, as my story will unfold more week by week. If you would like to stay connected with me, follow me on Instagram at mediuminthemiddle. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 28. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am really excited to be on the microphone this week. With everything going on in the world, I don't even want to talk about it. I just want this podcast to be an escape for you and maybe something to do while you are social distancing, catching up on podcasts, cleaning your room, emptying your closet, doing whatever you are doing and taking my voice and my story along with you. So thank you for tuning in, and I am sending all the posy, loving vibes out to the universe. So I want to keep this episode very light and easy to listen to so that if you are doing something else, you don't have to super pay attention to the story. So I thought I would do another Q&A since they are so popular and I seem to get the same questions from a lot of people. So today's episode is going to be a mediumship and Reiki question and answer. But before we get started, I am going to pull a card for you. So I am pulling from the Colette Baron Reed the Enchanted Map Oracle card deck. This isn't sponsored, but if you've listened to other episodes, you know that I was gifted this deck when I did my Reiki Masters course. And it's really special to me because the person that gifted this to me was getting a Reiki session from me as I practiced with my master, and she really didn't have to gift me anything. It was known that the exchange was she was helping me in my journey of learning. But she ended up giving me an Oracle deck card, and she also gave me another really nice gift. So it's special to me, and it reminds me of my master Lois. So I like to pull from this deck more often than my other decks. I have bought a few others, and I usually use the one that's called to me. I know I hate saying that, but it's true. And this one has just been speaking my language recently. Okay, so I just pulled the card and I got card number 28. The card is called Movement, which is very interesting considering the situation that we're in right now. You are in a time of positive forward motion. The card description. This is the time for positive momentum as you come out of a period of restriction. You're in a stage of new adventure and discovery. You may feel compelled to take a trip, change your hair, or move your home or business. Regardless, you can't remain where you are anymore. You feel compelled to go forward. No matter what your inquiry, you will see your dreams take form and doors previously shut begin to open as if by magic. Movement is also a state of mind. The fog lifts, and you now know the actions you need to take. This isn't the time for fear. Let it go and move forward. Ooh, this one applies in my life in a few different ways, just with things happening with work and doors opening with Reiki. I said previously I did recently go from my full-time job to a part-time job, and there is definitely movement in my life. So interesting. How does this apply to your life? I feel like that last little part of it really made the card make sense for me because I first started to read it and I was like, nah. Oh, okay, got it. There you go. Card of the day, 28, movement. Okay, let's jump right into the question and answer portion. I did post on Instagram to send me in your questions, and I got some really great ones. I do this from time to time and collect the questions. So if you ever have something to ask me, you can send them to me on Instagram. Just send me a DM and you will probably hear your question in an episode. So I'll start with my first question. It said, I see the number 11 all the time in different varieties. What is the universe saying? I love this question because I find that you will start to see synchronicities when the universe is trying to get your attention. And while I don't know what they're saying to you, I would definitely just start listening and know that if you are seeing 1111, or if you're seeing any other angel numbers as they call them, or if every time you look at the clock it's 4:22, there's a reason for that, and just start to pay attention. Okay, the next question that I got was, while you are treating a patient, is it possible that you get what you're ridding them of? Example, sickness or pain. This is a good question. So I don't necessarily pick it up and take it on, but I do feel it in the session. So for example, if you have really bad left shoulder pain, while I'm treating you, I'll feel the shoulder pain. And as I'm working on your shoulder, my pain won't go away until your pain goes away. So this can happen with anything. If you have heartache, if you have tears, if you have anything that you're holding back that I can pick up on. I did talk about this before, but I used to cry a lot in my sessions, like me personally, because I would pick up on heartache or fear or sadness or whatever caused the person to cry, and I would start crying in sessions. Now I've really toned that back where I can control my crying. So I kind of have, if my right eye tears, it means something. If my left eye tears, it means something. If both of my eyes get watery, that also means something. And if I physically start to cry, like if tears fall from my eyes, then that means something as well. So now I have these different kind of cues, I guess you can say, that when I'm treating someone, how my body physically reacts, I kind of know what's going on. And by the time the session is over, no matter what's going on, if I'm crying, if my shoulder hurts, if I have really, really bad stomach pain, whatever it is, by the end of the session, it always goes away. And I always have to make sure to, I call it snip myself from whoever my client is. So I just kind of cut the ties between you and me, so that when you leave, you are you and you're taking everything that you own with you, and I am me and I'm not taking on any of your energy that I don't need to be carrying. So sometimes if I forget to snip myself from a client and I'll be out afterwards and I'll be feeling weird and something won't be right, and I'll kind of think, wow, like I didn't have this massive headache before. Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel tired? Why is this happening? And I'll be like, oh, I didn't snip myself from my last client. I was in a hurry, or I would have left the office or whatever. So I always have to make sure that I cut the ties, and you are leaving with everything that is you, and I'm leaving with everything that is mine. So something that I do like to say is, if I do get caught carrying around something that isn't mine, is I just repeat to myself, this isn't mine, this isn't mine, this isn't mine to carry, this is not mine. And I just say that to myself over and over again until the energy kind of leaves me, because it's not meant to be with me. On that note, I've also been really practicing Distance Reiki. So before my client arrives, I sit in my office and I try to picture what they look like. And if I haven't met them before, I just try to picture them as best as I can. And I try to connect with their energy before they even get to my office. So when they arrive, sometimes depending on what's going on with the client, I'll be like, hi, I'm Steph, and does this hurt? And I'll jump right into it. But I'm getting better at being like, hi, how are you? And saying my first little opening speeches before being like, okay, so I could feel the anxiety weighing on your chest while I was walking to work today. Or just trying to really tune into their energy before they even get to me, as just a way to practice Distance Reiki. So Distance Reiki means that you can do Reiki on someone without them physically being there. So I can do Reiki on someone who is not with me. They can be anywhere in the world. And it's something that I've been trying to work on and master. And I really want to offer it as a service, but I just believe that until I'm really good at it, I don't want to take money for it. So I've been practicing. And a really great way to practice is on people who are coming to see you. So I can kind of tune into their energy and tap in before they even arrive, and then confirm with them, hey, do you have this heaviness on your chest? Hey, does your mom name this? Hey, is whatever comes up, and they can confirm it or deny it for me. So far I've been pretty spot on, and it's been really good. So just the same as when they walk in, or I'll just have to touch an area right away when they lay down. Sometimes even when they're still standing, I'll be like, can I just check this out just so that I know where to go and what to do and how the session's gonna unfold from there. So this question really had me thinking, and it's a very simple question. Someone asked, have I ever gone to see a medium? Like, have I ever gone to a medium? And the answer is no. And when I thought about this, I just thought that's outrageous that I've never gone to another medium. And I think it's because I've never known of any until recently. It's not something that I grew up with. It's not something that, your neighbor is a medium. It's not something that I knew of how to contact one. And I was always very skeptical of what would be true and if they're just taking your money, as I'm sure everyone thinks. It wasn't really until I got this ability that I really truly believed in it. And I'm also very skeptical of people who are being honest and truthful in their work and people who maybe aren't. But I also think that they're not being truthful. Some mediums have a stronger connection with spirit than others. So if you think of it like a phone line, some have a clear phone line where they can hear everything. So I know that I can get clear names. Like I could be like, who's Angela? And you can say, Angela's my mom. Where some people might just get the vibe that it's a mom. And that's totally fine, but people work differently. So I think now that I'm kind of in the industry and I've met people and I've connected with a lot of incredible mediums online, that I should experience mediumship from a client's perspective instead of always being the person who's saying the information. I do go to other healers. I go to Reiki, craniosacral. I always try to experience those type of things, but it is on my to-do list to do some market research for what other mediums offer, what another session looks like. I also am really interested in Akashic Records. I would love to do a past life regression and just different modalities, because how else can we learn and grow? And even if you don't like it, at least you did it and tried something new. But I could also learn something or just have a great experience or connect with another healer. So that was a really eye-opening question for me, because I'm in a field where I've never gone to see another medium. That kind of blows my mind a little bit, but I will change that soon. And especially with social distancing going on, I'm going to have a lot of time to set up appointments. And I know that mediums do work distantly. I currently do not, but it's something that I am also working on. I know I can do it. It just isn't comfortable for me yet. So this next question asked, in any of my sessions, has there been previous trauma uncovered? And the answer for this one is a little bit hard because it is yes. Sometimes things come up that need to come up, I believe, but it's also things that your body is holding on to, things that are sitting on you, weighing on you energetically. So this has definitely gotten deep. It can be with either deaths or suicides. It can be like the loss of a family member. It can be abuse. It can really be anything. And I learned very early on how sensitive I need to be around these subjects, and if I even bring them up to the client, because I can know you're abused or you were abused, but is bringing that up to you right now of service to you? Is this something that we need to talk about, or was it in your past and this is something that we need to talk about so that you can let go of? So I really try not to say much when this happens, and I feel it out how the session's going. Also, what is the energy around it? Like, what is your body telling me to do? It's really not my choice, and it just is my decision how I bring it up and how I talk about it. So I usually say that they do not have to give me any details, just like a yes or a no if this is making sense to them, that the healing will still occur in what they need most. It can definitely be a sticky situation. And the first time this happened for me, I was very sad after, because I just wasn't expecting to uncover that. But the healing and the experience that the person had was incredible. So in the end, it was really worth it. And not everything is easy to deal with, and not everything is rainbows and butterflies. And I think something that people don't understand when you come to a Reiki appointment is that I don't know what's going to come up. You probably don't know what's going to come up. And a lot of people don't expect tears, but tears do happen because it is a big release and it can be emotional, and kind of like a therapy session where neither of us talks, but you are getting so much off of your chest or off of your back or off of your gut or wherever you're carrying your stress or your worry or your anxiety, that you'll feel so good afterwards that, yeah, in the middle of appointment, it might be a little muddy, but we get through it together. So this next question was another question that really got me thinking. It asked, do you have any childhood experiences of Reiki or mediumship? And that is a great question. And the answer is no to both. I didn't know about Reiki until I literally took my Reiki level 1. And I've met so many people since then. But before that, I cannot think of one single thing where I had any kind of energy healing done. And in terms of mediumship, I've also never had any experiences with that either. What I do remember when I was younger is having a lot of conversations about psychics. So psychics always really interested me. I was always very curious. If anyone I knew went and saw a psychic, I was always like, what did they tell you? Like, how was your experience? And I have some cousins that go to psychics often, or they used to. And I would always want to know what happened, what they say, but I was always kind of afraid to go to one. So I've also never gone to a psychic. I've only ever had my cards read once by someone at a market, but it was an interesting experience. She definitely made me cry, and she told me some interesting things. Yeah, I was just always really focused on psychics and knowing the future and what they could tell you and how they knew things, but never really into Reiki or mediumship. And even now, I'm very interested in psychics, but very confused about how they work. And I know that they read energy, and I know that I can sometimes be psychic, and it kind of freaks me out when I do know what's happening in the future, and especially when those things come true. I know that it's reading energy, but energy can change and shift, so it's something that I would definitely be interested in learning more, and something that still, when I say certain things, I'm like, ooh, how'd I know that? And I guess it's just the sense of knowing. That's the whole purpose, is you just know. You don't know how you know. Or maybe you do know how you know, and I just don't know how I know. But I'm very comfortable in my lane of Reiki and mediumship because I know how I get that information. From Reiki, I get the information from your body, from your energy. I'm reading your energy. And with mediumship, I get the messages directly from spirit. So for me, it just makes sense because they're telling me. That's how I know. So I can answer your question with how do I know that? Because your dad told me that he has 3 kids, or whatever the sense may be. And in Reiki, sometimes people are like, oh, how'd you know I was a mom of 2? And it's literally because your energy is the energy of a mom of 2. Like, you hold your children's energy with you. So usually when you come for a Reiki session with me, I'll kind of do a family tree just because I'm picking up the energy. I'll be like, okay, so there's you have an older brother, a younger sister, your sister has a daughter, and your mom and your dad, they're together, but they don't live where you live. And it's just kind of going through the motions of uncovering your energy by seeing who's attached to you. And usually our family is attached to us energetically. Okay, well, that's all the questions and answers that I have for today's episode. I love getting your questions, so if you do have any, or if you would like to know something, please drop me a message on Instagram so I can save them up for another one of these episodes. You'd be surprised how many people want to know the same things. If you haven't already, I would love if you could subscribe to the podcast. I release new episodes every Tuesday, and by subscribing, I will just pop up in your library so you don't even have to remember to search for me. And if you are on iTunes, I would really appreciate a ratings and a review. If you could just tap 5 stars and write 1 or 2 sentences, it really helps me out in the podcast world for people finding me. And if you would like to, tell a friend about me. Since we're all going to have a lot of time on our hands, we can listen to 27 episodes worth of a mediumship story. Again, thank you for listening. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. And I will see you all next week. Bye.